Before having the precious opinion of our guest, I would like to elaborate a few things about the author and the book. Well, author is an officer of Police Service of Pakistan, Mr. J J Baloch. He has served in various capacities as commander of police in different districts and in Sindh and also in Punjab. And he has held many key positions, including in Karachi. And these days he is the course commander of National Police Academy, and he is looking after the training of the young ASPs, and I hope they will become very good officers from the experience I have had in serving with him. Well, about the book, Whiter Than White, the theme, which the author writes himself, that this is my inner man sitting with the inner goodness, inner goddess of a woman victim of crimes at the hands of her parents, her family, her husband, her employer. I mean, all the strata of life, all the stages of life, the challenges faced by women in our society in particular, they have been discussed, and it's a beautifully articulated book, and I hope it will make a very good reading for all of you and for all those who will benefit from it years later. Sir, with this, I would like to invite Mr. Amir Zia, the President of Bol Media Group, for his precious opinion on this occasion.
Thank you very much, Jiskani Saab, for inviting us and giving us an opportunity. I mean, this evening was the first time that I met Mr. Jiskani in person, and before that I got introduced to his book. And I would say the biggest thing of the book is that how easily it flows, and I can assure you that I finished it in just one night. So that is about the readability of the book, and I think it's very commendable that our police officers are now, mashallah, making their name in the world of literature. And Jiskani Saab is not the first one. Mr. Kumar Shahid Khan, he has made a name for himself, and I would say that probably some of the old officers would know that it has a very long tradition in the police force. I remember that the first author who was a police officer I read was Mr. Zafar Umar, who wrote the book Neeli Chhatri, and that was a detective novel. And that was way back in, I would say, in early 20th century. He was a deputy superintendent police, and he even constructed a house and naming it Neeli Chhatri because the kind of money he got from the sales of that book. So it's good that our officers, I mean, whatever opinion that detectives of the police force might have about this force, we see that there are officers who are concerned citizens as like any other segment of the society. So highly commendable. Coming to the book itself, I would say that the greatest test of a book is the storytelling. And I can say and I can assure you that Mr. Jiskani had a great story to tell. It is the book grabs you from I would say from the start, from the very first few pages, and then you won't like to leave it. And the way he has portrayed the feudal society, the tribal society, the riverine area, the Kutch areas, the life over there, I mean, even for a journalist like me who thinks that they are informed people, it was a revelation. And I think only a person who has got an acute insight of those areas, he could have written it and quoted it like that. So that is the first point I would like to submit that. And then the main theme of the book remains that it is highlights the exploitation of women in our society, the status of women, and the way, I think with a very sensitive heart and very sensitive mind, Mr. Jiskani has dealt with this issue. Starting with the child marriage issue, the way honor killings victimize not just women but even infants and children. So all these, things will strike you in the very first few pages. And it is packed with, I would say, action, and at the same time, it's not just action. Mr. Jiskani, keeping in mind that because the book is written in English, so he's also provided that perspective about the society as well, as an author, as a writer. So that is again a good way to explain it to all of us, that those people who are not familiar with the kind of, I think for a foreign reader, maybe reading it in England or US or in Europe, they could have a better understanding of the oppressive feudal society, what it can do with the people and how it can destroy the spirit and eliminate physically the woman folk. And then the most inspiring thing is that it is not just the exploitation he's telling us about, then the resistance by the main protagonist, who the heroine of this short novel, that how she evolves from a helpless child who was married early in her life at the age of 10, and then she her first husband got killed, and then she was abducted by some a dacoit, and how he was killed in encounter. Her the way he has portrayed the life in jail, that was I think very remarkable. And I would say the entire book is full of the way he's used irony and metaphors. That is very commendable. The life in jail, the point he has highlighted, that it is serving as an institution for reform for a woman who has nowhere to go in the world. Jail emerges as a sanctuary from where she learns and where she learns how to read and write, things like that. So it's a very interesting read. And it's not just giving you the panorama of the rural life or the riverine area, then the setting changes. It comes to the city area and the urban landscape. You meet human rights activists, you meet police officers, you meet journalists over there, and everything has been explained in such a masterful manner. The one thing we often, and first of all, believe me, I'm not a literary critic, I'm just a reader. So don't take my word as a literary critic, because I think that duty will come forward to Mr. Nazir Laghari Sahab and the other more learned people. So as a reader, I would say that I always find the greatest, as E.M. Foster, one of the greatest I would say English language writer and critic, himself wrote the greatest explanation for a book, and the praise for the book is the story element. So the story element strikes you very hard. And although we know that in the modern world people are experimenting with internal monologues and things like that, but those books are not easy to read, and they lack that kind of storytelling element. So that is, I would say, the greatest strength of Mr. Jasrani, the way he has portrayed it. In literature, we also say that improbable probability is justified in literature. By that we mean that things which are hard to believe, if they're probable, they can be justified, rather than those things which are probable but remains improbable in the actual life. So in that way, the character of Hoor, I would say, and I was also asking him earlier in the evening that how come she, a girl who is so oppressed, who is denied education and everything, how she can, emerges as a strong woman, and the kind of questions she's asking and the kind of, personality she has developed. So that is one thing, that thing comes later in the novel, that she equips herself while living in jail, and her own, what we call it in DNA, the intelligence. So I'll just commend you, sir, for writing such a fine book, and I hope that more books are to follow. And it will be much, you will be doing a bigger service, that if we can get a translation of this book for our Urdu readers as well. So that will again be a good thing. So kind of you for your time, and thank you very much.